Obviously, Micah and Cam have been two of your most productive players on defense. It seems like each of them has sort of made a bit of a leap. Just what's impressed you about those guys this year? Just how have you seen them take steps on what they'd already.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, Micah and Cam are two of our best players and been in this program for many years. The thing I've really seen the biggest growth in is their leadership, especially Micah. More verbal. He's always led by the way he practices and prepares and how hard he plays and executes on game day. But just the sideline, the leadership for guys beyond just that room, and just the growth in that area, responding to our challenge to him to be able to verbally lead. And same with Cam. I mean, he's phenomenal all summer long, leading our guys during workouts. There's no doubt they set the tone for the whole defense. For the whole team, really, for that matter, and how we work, how we pay attention to the little things, and just to be able to, match that up with great play. So you have both great work ethic, great production on the field, and then now with both of those guys, strong verbal leadership. So it's a great combination.
Kevin and Matt.
Yeah, Tom, your secondary guys that were banged up coming out of the Penn State game, Raheem, obviously Taiwan missed it, and Reese, how are they heading into this week?
Yeah, so I feel good about Raheem. He's been out there, and the other two are still working to get back. Not sure on either one of those two yet. Won't know till game day.
Matt and Rick.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. One guy we haven't seen this year, I know you mentioned early in the season he was banged up, is James Head. Just any update on him? Is he any closer to maybe getting back on the field for you guys?
Yes, making lots of really good progress, and really excited about where he's at, and look forward to seeing him out there in the near future. Yes.
Right, Rick.
Yeah, Tom, with having the off week to get healthy and get, what have been the primary focus points since the Penn State game that you guys want to see improve?
Yeah, well, first of all, you mentioned the health. That was a big focus, just being able to decide who would get reps. Modified some reps, had some guys that didn't practice at all. All they did was rehab the entire week of the bye week. Some guys would just do individual and a lot of technique work and then not do the team reps to be able to take some shots off their body. And so really, I think that was a big focus, but also just for the whole team, like even some guys that didn't take team reps, they did all the individual, all the technique work, all the one-on-ones to be able to improve our fundamentals and technique and blocking and tackling and just the core. When you always talk about camp rules, things you do as a base for your offense and your defense and your special teams units to be able to really emphasize those attention to details, whether it's footwork, hand placement, punch, being able to make our reads, work on some base things that as you get into a game plan, they're always a part of it. They may get tweaked a little bit. So the understanding, execution of the fundamentals of those things is paramount. And so we just really went back and refined and things and evaluated to say, okay, hey, these are things that keep showing up that we need to make sure we're working on even more to where we can execute at critical times. So to me, it was just an overall sharpening of what we do, making some adjustments and changes and things that have not worked and not getting out of it what we want through a self-scout evaluation and then just fundamentally improving.
Nathan and Kevin.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
The biggest story in the National Football League this past week was the resignation of John Gruden from the Vegas Raiders as their head coach. I know Gruden was invited as a guest to the 2017 spring game at the school. How surprised were you to see the comments exposed by the New York Times in the last week, especially in the context of how it clashes with your LEO mindset?
Yeah, I don't, to be very frank and honest, I have not sat there and studied everything that was said or stated or put in an email. Obviously saw some highlights. Very surprised, I would say. Don't know him that well. That was my first time ever meeting him when he came to our campus, and highly disappointed. And some things that I have seen and read, it does not align with what we believe. There's no doubt about that based on what was reported. And so, yeah, that's not consistent with LEO. To me, it's about how you treat people. I believe in that. that, and I think that's one thing I've been consistent with. And loving other people is about an unconditional choice of how I feel about you, not based on circumstances, but I make that choice because of who you are as a person. And to me, that's the kind of love that I want this team to be modeled and mentored by our staff and by me, and be a part of who we are. So to me, I believe in that. It's how I live my life. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying to be like me in that regard, but I have a model that I follow, and I want our guys to treat others with high level of respect because of who they are as an individual person, not because they can perform or do something for me or something that I like or agree with, but they have value because they are a person that I love and care about.
Kevin and Dustin?
Yeah, Tom, Jaden Reed, 2 punt returns for touchdowns already this season. How much has that been emphasized this week, just the coverage units to kind of remain tight for Saturday?
Correct. Highly emphasized. That's obviously has a lot of multiple points to it, in both the quality of the kick, the quality of the coverage, the placement of the kick, all those different things that you want to be able to do. Obviously, very dangerous returner. He's created game-changing plays for them, allowed them to give the opportunity to win the game versus Nebraska. And so, yes, a huge point of emphasis, and we got to make sure we're on point in all of our cover units because it's going to take a complete team effort to be able to come out on top on Saturday.
Dustin?
So I wanted to follow up again on the first question on Cam and Micah. Just from an on-field perspective, what are some plays that you're seeing them make that maybe you haven't seen before? What just from obviously the leadership is really important and the work is really important. What are some just things that you're seeing them do? Again, just plays you're seeing them make
Sure.
that you didn't necessarily see a year ago or 2 years ago.
Well, I think I'll start with Micah. He, especially a couple years ago, was always around the ball, but didn't finish as well as he needed to. Sometimes he was out of control, would either splash off or even had some penalties because of being out of position on the finish of those tackles. Improved last year and has improved even more this year, I think. And that to me is really jumps out. He's just makes very efficient and quick decisions as he reads, has studied a bunch of film, prepares at a high level, and can anticipate things. But like you said, I think he's making more of those because of just more strong leadership in terms of how he prepares, how he's been able to communicate pre-snap to get guys in position for both himself and his teammates to make those plays. And then for C4, which is what we call Cam, he has just gotten as better as a linebacker. And the more he plays, he was not a high school linebacker. And when he came here, he was a Husky in the beginning. And so his reps in the box, I thought that was an area where he just needed to get better at, and reading keys and being able to have such a quick reaction to those keys has been really, really critical in his growth. I've seen that. He's taken a step forward in that area, which has allowed him to make more tackles in the box. And then he's always had great athleticism and speed to make plays on the perimeter. But just the attention to the little things of his coverage techniques and understanding reads and keys and fitting things in the box, it's allowed him to become a much more high-level linebacker. And so both of those guys, because of that, I think are playing their best football right now.